Well, Betty, the annual meeting is set to start only half an hour from now. In fact, just a little less than half an hour from now. And as you said, the New York Times is reporting that based on a preliminary tally of the votes cast for or against this shareholder resolution to split up the roles of chairman and CEO, it does appear that JP Morgan has been successful in defeating the shareholders' initiative. What we don't know is how wide or slim that margin of victory is. Let's put it into context. Last year, the very same resolution was on JP Morgan's proxy, and it won 40% support from shareholders. So 40% of the shareholders, Betty, wanted to split the roles of chairman and CEO. This year, if more than 40% want to split the roles of chairman and CEO, it puts the company under further pressure to respond in some way, shape, or form. Mike Mayo, the analyst, the outspoken analyst at Credit Agricole, you and I spoke to him just half an hour ago, said that's not something that JP Morgan can afford to ignore, that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a reconstitution of the risk and audit committees, for example, or whether it's an investiture of the independent lead director with more power, the bank simply has to respond. It cannot ignore these results.
Eric, tell us what the process is, because we know that some of those votes have already taken place and they were being tallied in the days leading up to today's meeting. How much of it is now being tallied at the actual meeting, and when will we likely hear a confirmation, Eric?
Betty, you can be fairly certain that the result of the vote is almost fully baked into the cake at this point. JP Morgan has 3.8 billion shares outstanding. To the degree that those votes were going to be cast, the vast majority, if not almost all of them, have already been cast. The institutional investors like Fidelity, for example, or BlackRock, or State Street, or T. Rowe Price cast their ballots in the weeks and days leading up to this meeting. There is no way, as you can imagine, that JP Morgan could, in the buildings here in Tampa, Florida, count millions or even billions of ballots. So to the degree that the New York Times is fairly certain that the vote is going to go in JP Morgan's favor, you can probably count on that. There is very little likelihood. It would really have to come down to a hanging chad kind of scenario for the vote to tip the other way during the course of the meeting. It's going to begin at 10 a.m. Last year, it was a bit of a rocket docket. Steve Cutler, the general counsel, tried to get the meeting over and done with as fast as possible, and we were out in 50 minutes. It's probably fair to assume that that's not going to happen this year. People like Mike Mayo are here. They're asking questions. It could go for 90 minutes. It could go for longer, Betty. When exactly during that period of time we're going to get the final tally, I can't tell you, but it's probably going to be before noon today.